His son's in the movie, by the way.
I had a 1-year-old at the time, and we decided to put him in the movie because free labor. And, it's a witch movie, so tragically it doesn't work out so well for, the babies and the children in our movie. I'm Drew Pierce. I'm the co-writer, director.
Brett Pierce, his brother, the other co-writer, director.
Devin Burrows, composer.
And Chang Tseng, I'm the producer.
It's a story about a teenage boy that moves in with his dad for the summer, and they're having family troubles. There's kind of an imminent divorce looming, and he becomes convinced that the woman next door is a witch and is making her children disappear. So it's a fun kind of voyeuristic horror film, kind of in the vein of Fright Night. Yeah.
We've always loved mythology. Roald Dahl's The Witches is probably one of my favorite books. It was so creepy, and I always wanted to see like the adult version of The Witches. And all the witch movies that we've seen, for the most part, they're always sort of like ghost stories. It's not necessarily witch mythology, kind of like The Witches. So we set out to sort of create our own mythology and our own witch with its own rules.
We were reading a bunch of different stories about various witches in different countries, and we kind of saw some universal themes. So we just started picking and choosing to kind of make our, in a way, kind of like our ultimate witch. So we wanted to kind of harken back to the witch as a little bit more of a creature and less as just a woman who's doing, terrible spells and cursing people. I think it was just more like we just really wanted to see it, and there just hadn't been one.
We love horror movies that make you feel really comfortable in a really appealing setting, like something to make people like, oh, this is where I would want to go on vacation. And I was going to this pretty, harbor and small town, and it slowly bled its way into the script.
We grew up in Michigan, where we shot the film, and I think we just naturally wanted that feeling of northern Michigan, because for us, even growing up as kids, we would go up north with our families. It was very creepy to us because it was literally just cabins and woods and stuff. So it was very, just very much like our childhood put on the screen. Drew and I, we come from a divorced family. So, and even though the divorce in our family occurred when we were a lot younger, almost every script we've ever written, it always seems like there's an element of, divorce with a family splitting apart and kind of trying to come to terms with like what the new family situation is. So.
And that's a funny, interesting point is that on this movie, I think the entire family came together because their mom, dad, plus their stepdad, and everybody was their stepsister. Everybody came into the movie, so it's like almost kind of brought a whole family back together.
Yeah, they all worked on it, so they were all there, getting along as best they could.
The more people you have that you just trust and love and are going to support you, like the better, because you're in such a
And if your mom's handling craft service on a movie, it's kind of hard for anyone to say anything bad about you. So that's a benefit too. His son's in the movie, by the way.
I had a 1-year-old at the time, and we decided to put him in the movie because free labor. And, it's a witch movie, so tragically it doesn't work out so well for, the babies and the children in our movie. Yeah. Especially for my kid. And one day we kept working in my kid into scenes because we were just like, this will be great. It'll be like a sloppy sort of Spielberg family scene. Let's put the kid in there, have him interact with the kid. And we did that one day when we were shooting outside of the location, and we were like, let's put the kid in there. He'll be bouncing them and barbecuing. And we realized in the middle of it, our scriptie ran over to us in the middle of the day. It's like, stop. He's already dead. We realized we're shooting a later scene where my 1-year-old baby was already dead. It was just a weird moment.
And it's so weird. You're looking at the screen, you're like, and we looked at each other.
We were like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Of course, he's dead.
Yeah, get the baby out of there. Get the baby out.
The music is an orchestral score. I was involved very early. Brett and Drew came over to my place, and we listened to a bunch of instruments. We spread out some folk instruments and Indian sarangi and things like that, and we tried to experiment and get sort of the sound of the woods going and some creepy sounds for the witch, creepy orchestral score in the spirit of Bernard Herrmann and Rimsky-Korsakov and composers like that.
We just wanted like a lot of themes to build up because our movie is a character drama and it's about how all that evolves. Our early conversations was about establishing themes and sort of escalating those through the movie.
Drew and I are big fans of kind of old school scores. So Devin really brought like a signature like theme, but also just gave it its own personality. John Paul Howard was a really big find for us. We did a casting process in LA, but he wasn't based in Los Angeles. He was based in New Mexico. So he sent us a tape, and it was literally just a tape. You could tell he like hit record on his computer and just did a couple of scenes for us. We were looking at a bunch of different people, but we kept going back to that tape, and we were like, there's something about him. He's just kind of making it work. And the best part is eventually we were like, let's get him in this movie. And we called him, and we Skyped him and talked to him, and like, so we want to give you the part in the movie. He's like, I better quit my job at the pizza place so I can come make the movie. So he really bonded with the actor who plays his father, Jameson Jones, and it really benefited the movie because they spent so much time together. Just like they'd go sailing or they'd go to a movie together while we were on their few days off. That I think that just really came across when we shot the film. They were kind of bonded like father and son just on their own.
Yeah, I mean, we're a huge fan of Spielberg. I think he's one of the greatest horror directors of all time.
Even though he hasn't made a ton of horror films.
Yeah, Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
A lot of the big blockbuster filmmakers are kind of horror directors, but just sort of masquerading as like action films or dramas. E.T. for like a good portion of that's a horror film, it just doesn't go quite as dark.
I know so many people are terrified of E.T. actually, it's funny. But in a horror film, I want to feel involved with the characters. I don't want them to just be people that are lining up to die, because that's boring for me. So in Spielberg films, what I always appreciate, there's always a very conscious effort in the first act to make you care or get involved in these people's lives. And for a horror movie, that's pivotal, because I'm not going to care when the terrible, dark things start happening if I haven't been in their shoes for a little bit and feel like I can sympathize and empathize with them.
Yeah, his movies usually start as character dramas that turn into horror movies that turn into like sort of beautiful, sort of amazing like spectacles at the end, and ours just goes darker.
It's been an incredible experience coming here to Germany, and I've never been here before. It's an incredibly beautiful country with incredible food. Amazing. Oh my God, so good. Anyway, I saw some really incredible film here with other filmmakers, and I think the festival does an incredible job putting it together. The hospitality, everything from top to bottom.
It's the type of festival you like because the people coming to see the movies, that the audiences are so engaged. It's just great to be able to like share it with people that love horror films the same way you do. So
yeah, it's just been a blast. They kind of said it all. It's a fantastic fest, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, we don't want to go home. Yeah.